Hey guys, what's up? And here is our Q&A, the McCoys. This is Greg.
Hey guys, nice to meet you.
For those that don't know. Yeah, we were really excited to do this post and get you guys to ask some questions, and we've come up with a few answers for a few of those. So today we're going to answer 5 questions. There were a ton of great ones, so we couldn't really decide. So we're gonna answer 5 more on another video. I think we should address actually one question that everybody will not stop asking us.
It's a daily question.
This is seriously a daily question.
Babies or no babies?
How do you want to answer this?
I'll go ahead and soften the blow and say at this time, I'm not planning on having any kids. You can hit it. She's usually like, hell no, I hate babies.
I do not say I hate babies. Look, if you know you're the motherly type, then that's fine. But if you know that you're not, then that's great, okay? So I'm not...
She would make a great mom.
That's very sweet of you, but
we're just
no, guys,
selfish and want to travel and work out, so
yeah,
no kids.
No. All right, so question number 1. Let me say that again. All right, so question number 1 comes from Tober Meyer. Where'd you guys meet, and are you competitive with one another?
Good question.
I win, always.
The meeting question is pretty funny because I had a Metroflex Plano at the time, and I bought a sponsorship. This was prior to social media days, so I was actually buying print advertisements. I bought a front page advertisement on a Dallas sports page, and the feature of that issue was a bikini contest. So I was the sponsor of the bikini contest, and one of the perks of being the title sponsor, and this wasn't a fitness bikini contest, this was like a bar room bikini contest. One of the perks of being the title sponsor was myself and one friend who I took, Steve Kukla, with me. Steve and I went and judged a bikini contest at Dick's Last Resort in downtown Dallas. And yeah, it was honestly, you know, to go from pretty funny to like pretty serious really fast. It was honestly like love at first sight. I was like, I saw her from a distance. She was shooting this marshmallow gun, probably at someone, and I was like, oh my God, Steve, that's the definition of my type. I've never seen anyone so pretty. And yeah, we, you know, Steve and I probably drank a little too much and judged the contest, and Tawna got a controversial second.
Yeah, guys, so just a little backstory. I was competing in the bikini competition. That is actually before I started to compete. Obviously, that's how this all got started. I used to do like beauty pageant swimsuit contests, and I was competing in it, and I got second. Yeah, he gave me second.
But anyways, I had Steve stand guard because they were making me clean up all my signage and stuff, and I was like, don't let her leave. And I went over to her, and it was you know, I'll be honest, it was I had ulterior motives, of course, because I was very attracted to her, but, you know, my original pitch was like, hey, you know, would you want to work a booth sometimes? I go to fitness expos, and, you know, could offer you some work, and I think you'd be really good. And at this time, bikini competing had only existed for about a year. Nobody really knew what the division was going to do, so... yeah, that's kind of how it started. She started working a few booths, and
I still got them all twisted.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah, so we met at Dick's Last Resort, and then there shortly you started training me.
Yep.
So that's how we got started.
Are we competitive?
Yeah, we are on like.
We're on dumb stuff.
Like everyday stuff. Like when we're not competitive. Competing,
no.
Like if you know, like because I mean, bodybuilding, bikini, it doesn't work that way. But like bowling, Top Golf,
yeah,
even in the gym sometimes, which sounds absolutely stupid,
Yeah,
because he should
outlift her.
he should be outlifting me because he's like triple my size, but like especially on hip thrust, he just started hip thrusting, and I don't know, has 4 plates on there or whatever. It annoyed me. But yeah, we are on that kind of stuff.
Frozen yogurt weights, we like to compete, which you always beat me.
I out-eat him
This girl can put down the froyo.
every day.
You guys don't even know.
I'm the froyo champ.
All right, question 2.
Question number 2 comes from Jen_and_Judy. How do you tackle his hangry moments when you are also hungry? You actually don't have a whole lot of hangry moments. You don't
Pretty
get, yeah, you're definitely the chill one. I'm the one that's usually hangry. If you do, which we both do a pretty good job of, if we know that the other person is hangry or hungry or tired because of, contest prep or dieting or whatever, we're usually pretty good at leaving the other person alone. I've gotten better at being hangry. I used to be far worse than I am. I don't even know how you're still with me on some of these hangry moments.
Yeah,
but
you're patient though. Like I don't necessarily get hangry, but I'll be short and withdrawn. And I think what would usually cause a fight, because she would probably take my like lack of reaction as disrespectful, or sometimes I just won't respond because I don't feel like talking it out or whatever.
Right.
You're patient with me to not like, okay, I know it's not because of me. I think it's just like we have more confidence in our relationship now, where it's like, it's not your fault, so you're just gonna kind of like let it roll off the shoulder.
Yeah, it's the lack of food.
Yeah,
talking.
he's tired. He's tired and not feeling good. So of course he's not gonna give me a smile every time.
It's me, not you, or it's you.
And you have probably just instead of being so hangry, you'll just kind of, well, I know when you're quiet.
Yeah.
Just to leave you be.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, I had quite a short temper, just kind of combative, honestly. But I've definitely calmed that down now and learned how to control it. And yeah, I think we do a pretty good job of that.
It's all with experience too. I mean, when you know what to expect and you know what you're gonna feel like, you can kind of prepare yourself and say, look, I'm not gonna be that person. I'm doing this by choice. I'm not gonna make my spouse feel shitty because I feel shitty.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of own up to it and take care of it.
I made the decision to do this. It's not forced diet. It's because I want to do it. So.
Good question.
Question number 3. I like this question a lot. This comes from Lauren versus the world. All right. How hard is it to prep together? Especially in regards to hormones and sex drive. As a female, when food gets low, so do hormones and sex drive, and it can definitely cause frustration in my relationship, LOL.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's certainly, I think it's a good one to ask because it was asked more than once too, so.
It actually was. And we talked about these guys before just so we would know how we wanted to answer them and give you the best answer. And at first I was like, I'm not answering that. I'm not talking about that. Like, we are not talking about that. But it's important because it is reality and it is true. It does happen. Again, kind of like the hangry moments, you like learn how to work with the other person on situations like that. Like if I know.
I think it all starts with like, we decide as a couple, like when we're going to compete, who's going to compete when, if it's a good time for us to compete at all. It's certainly like our relationship first, and then competing is, a few rungs down the ladder, so with competing, you sign up for a lot. So, you need to decide as a couple, is competing good, and make sure that both parties are bought in. Like, I know if she wants to compete, I know that towards the end it's going to be a drought, like But if you're ready for the drought, maybe drink a little more water before the drought starts, and then afterwards. But you just gotta be ready and know, like, she's gonna fade out on me a little bit. But that's when you agree as a couple, like, look, we're gonna go through this together, no matter what it takes. So, you're kind of prepared for what's gonna happen. Which, if you don't know what's gonna happen, and all of a sudden your partner's just not interested in you anymore, you probably start to freak out, and is she cheating on me? What's going on? You'd have all these doubts and stuff, but if you have the expectation, look, that's what happens to girls and guys.
Yeah.
Guys aren't,
there's times, when he's in prep and I'm like, what's wrong with this guy?
I reach a point at every contest prep, whereas you asked me if I wanted ass or cheesecake, I would take the cheesecake 10 out of 10 times. It's probably 3-4 weeks out. The priorities change.
Yeah, but he also, and just because she was asking from a girl's perspective and was saying that, it's hard on her relationship, I can understand there's a part where he was saying that it gets to a drought, but he's also really good at knowing that drought and not making me feel bad about, I'm just gonna keep calling it the drought. He doesn't, make me feel bad about it. He knows what my goal is and what I started out to do, and he knows it's just kind of part of the process. And whenever I get my cheek nails back in and I get some brain cells back up there, that we're all gonna be good and we're gonna be right back on track. And so I think you do a really good job of not making me feel guilty for that, like you're understanding,
Yeah, it takes two for sure, but it's an important subject, and I certainly think it, just like anything, it helps to be talked about before you're in the drought.
Yeah.
Don't make plans once the shit hits the fan. Decide as a couple, and maybe it's not the right time. If you're going through relationship issues or trust issues and all that stuff, maybe you just don't compete that at that time.
Yeah.
And get solid as a couple before you go into it, because you're gonna need each other.
Absolutely, and I think it's just, it kind of goes to show, because our whole relationship, we met February 2010 at Dick's Last Resort, and so that's 8 years, and we've either both competed together or one or the other competed every single year, and we're still together and still holding strong. And a lot of people, you will hear their relationships ending because of competing. And it's probably because of, questions like this, and people don't know how to go about it. So
I will say too, though, I think it plays to our favor. And you guys that are couples where both people compete, there is a certain level of understanding. Mm-hmm. I do know what she feels like, and so it makes it much easier for me to all right, I know how that feels, and I'm not going to give her a hard time about this. And if not, but if both people don't really understand that mode that you get into, it's hard to explain. When your body fat is that low and you're that depleted in food, you're in a very weird state of mind that most people will never feel. Hopefully, maybe if you're malnourished or something, that's probably the only situation. No person in a first world country is ever going to feel like that unless they do it on purpose.
Cheesecake is priority.
Yeah. Good question, though. Good question.
Yes. Question number 4 is from Official DSP. How do you manage competing together in regards of managing expenses and the need of each person? That is also a very good question. And how to make your relationship go out of control besides sex
and money.
Money,
probably two of the biggest causes for breakups and divorce.
Absolutely. And even if you're not in a relationship, you should definitely look at your bank account and decide, do I have enough money to compete and pay my bills, not be paycheck to paycheck to compete. Mm-hmm. Make sure you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted and everything's organized and you've got plenty of money, because it's a costly sport. It's not cheap to compete.
Yeah, all the way from beginning to
pro, even
very high level. I mean, you have to invest in your competition. So, for us, it's a budget process. I mean, just like I said, in regards to being prepared for the drought, you have to be prepared for the expenses and decide and be mature enough to, like, if you want to compete and it's not the right time financially, not to.
Yes.
So I think it's just plan it out, and if you want to compete and there's trade-offs involved, then maybe it's for us. I know we've skipped vacations
Trips.
where we were like we're gonna have to travel to compete. Maybe we'll just stay with the family this holiday, or you make trade-offs just like anyone would.
I mean, we kind of just did that for our 2018 year. We love to travel. We travel at least 2 to 3 times a year just for, fun. And, we planned out our 2018 schedule of some vacation time so that we get some QT with each other. But, I'm going to be competing and he wants to get back on stage again. So we discussed money. That was part of the process of, is this feasible? Are we going to be able to do this trip, or are we going to have to ex-nate that? So, it's definitely planning it out and being smart about the planning, and don't just plan it only to compete. Like, don't turn your whole life upside down just to try to compete. Like, if it's going to make it stressful, don't do it. Push it back, or plan for another time.
Yeah, and if you haven't competed before or are thinking about it, make sure you talk to people that have done it and can give you a good idea of the cost, because it adds up. Especially if you're going to pay a coach, if you're going to get posing help, you're buying a lot of food. You do say, I think in general you save because you're not eating out at restaurants, but you're going to buy a lot of food and supplements and tanning and NPC cards and entry fees. It's not cheap, for sure.
The last question.
Yeah.
Already. Question number 5. This is a really great question, and I love this because, it's not just for the competitor, it's for couples, for all over. So BC Baby Mama, I also like your Instagram handle.
Yeah, that's a good name.
My hubby has no interest in health or fitness at all. He is overweight and a smoker, and I worry about his health. He won't eat any healthy meals I make or even go for a walk with me. He also doesn't seem to understand why I think it's so important, and a lot of what I say comes off as nagging. Is there anything I can do, or is he just a lost cause?
Yeah, that's a tough situation.
Yeah, because I can understand it from a side of concern as a wife. Like, I married Greg to be with him for forever, and if he was, not living a healthy lifestyle and it meant that he would, go before I do, I'm not down for that. Like, I told him, if you go before I do, I'm coming right after you, because I'm not going to hang out here by myself. So, I can definitely understand how that is, concern. Not even just for a looks thing,
Yeah.
If it means his health is in the way, then that's...
You almost have to find the root of the problem, and it's probably a really thin line, because you don't want to take his masculinity and he obviously wants to be ride his own path and go his own way. So you taking him to fitness, he may feel my wife's dragging me into this thing. So if maybe find the root of the cause, because a lot of times you'll see I've had it with clients a lot where the husband, it's usually where the female is the client and it's a husband. They'll start to really resent the gym. It's taking a lot of her time.
Yeah.
Maybe she, may started to look better and better, and he feels insecure about that.
Yeah.
So all those can be root problems to why people rebel against fitness. It might be back to how he was raised. A lot of people just see no value in it.
Yeah, it's hard to change your whole life. Because it is a life change. It's not just a couple meals here and there. But I like what you said about the feeling insecure. Not that he's an insecure person, but I can understand how it would make you feel insecure, because you know, as a man, it's like that's your woman and she's like, you know, taking you to things or whatever. But maybe you can go a route of making him involved, or helping him get involved with more fitness related things without telling him like, hey, come to the gym with me. Maybe like, we were saying like sneak attacks, like go do something that's a little more active, but it's like date night or
maybe
date,
not,
or like
not be involved at all, and encourage him to be in activity, you know, get active with his buddies or his family,
right.
or whatever. Maybe that's like a pickup basketball league or flag football or a softball team, or like, I mean, to honestly, like what you need to do, we're not talking about him turning into a competitor. We're like talking about how to prevent heart disease and diabetes and not die. So it's really, I mean, you can be pretty simple. I mean, if you're moving on average 30 minutes a day and you know, having some portion control, you know, is, you know, really realistic base level for anybody. So if it's like, you know, like I said, like a pickup league or something where he's just moving around, would be an awesome start. And, you know, and then maybe down the line that's, you know, going to the gym together. But in the beginning it could be really, you know, something simple. And like I said, maybe you need to be out of it so he feels like he's doing it on his own.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately it's got to come from him. I mean, because if you try to tell him that he needs to do this, for even if you tell him it's for his health, it doesn't matter. I mean, everybody has to, you know, make that decision on their own. And it's only up to you to decide how you're gonna go about it.
Programs don't work unless you do, and you can't do it for somebody, and you can't motivate other people. Someone has to be self-motivated. You can encourage, but motivation has to come from the inside.
Yeah, so I hope that's a
so
little
good
bit
luck.
helpful.
Yeah, good luck. Cool. Is that all of them? Till the next one.
That was 5, but we have 5 more already picked out, and we're gonna be doing another video on that. And I'm really excited because you guys had some awesome questions. So we're excited to do more of those. And if you do think of any more along the way, you can comment below, and we'll answer there too. So, you ready to go work out or what?
Let's go hit it.
Yeah. Stronger together.